Hi, welcome to Copenhagen. Thanks for dropping in. Hope everybody is doing well. Are you struggling with how to deal with large canvases while you diamond paint? That is, canvases that are too big for your table. Do you just let them hang over the end? Do you use a pool noodle? Do you use pipe insulation? I've been struggling with this thing for a bit of time, and I had a solution. But recently I was browsing the internet and I found 3D gems, and I found an accessory that they make, and I thought that could be the answer. So up until now I have been using some pipe insulation. So this is just foam that you're meant to put around pipes to stop them freezing in the winter. So all I did was I went to the local hardware store, bought a piece and cut it to the width of the table. And then when diamond painting, I was putting the canvas on and using masking tape just to hold it, then rolling it up until I had the section that I wanted to work on at the bottom of the table, and sat the roll up here. So most of the canvas would be wrapped up here to start with. It would be pulled down to the bottom of the working area, and then I would work like that. The thing is, the reason that this actually did work for me is because I have an A2 light pad underneath here, and that creates a lip up here. This table is on an angle. If I didn't have that lip, if I was using the small A4 light pad, I wouldn't be able to do this because it isn't as thick. If I put this further down, that's what happens. So I'm on a tilted table, and if it hadn't been for the fact the light pad goes up to here and creates a natural little dip, I couldn't use this technique. But this is what I've been doing with canvases that are taller than the table, because I don't want them just hanging off the back of the table. So that works for me. The issue for me, the big issue for me, is it takes up space on the table. And when I work on the section, and I have my cases with the drills on the table, all my accessories are on the table, and if I'm doing YouTube lives, I also have a laptop on the table. I can't really do that if I have this thing up here taking up space. So as I said, recently I was browsing the internet, as I do, just looking for things that are different, and I came across a website called 3dgems.de. So it's a German website, and I saw these things, and they call them canvas table reels, and they look like this. So we've got the 3D Gems logo, and this is 3D printed. It is a lot thicker than expected, which is good. It feels really sturdy, and it has this screw. The idea is you clamp this onto your table, and your canvas sits in it, and you pull it out onto the table to work. So obviously you get two, you get one either side, and I actually have already started using them, but luckily I bought a set for my wife as well, and the canvas that she's working on isn't bigger than the table, so I can use these to let you see what they look like. Really simple design, really big threaded screw, easy to turn, it's not a little fiddly thing, really easy to work. And the idea is it clamps on the table. Now, when I looked at the website, they seemed to be talking about clamping it to the front of the table, and I thought I can't really do that, because if I clamp this to the front of the table, I can't get into the drawers. I'm using the drafting table that a lot of people have got. You've got two drawers at the front, you've got a little flat table at the side, and I take stuff out there quite a lot, so I didn't really want these blocking access to the drawers. So I put them on the back of the table. So if I remove these, and let you see what's actually under these mats. Every time you watch a video, there is a diamond painting under here. So I'm going to lift the mats just to let you see how I put them together. So lift the mats up. So these are just they're plastic mats. They look like fabric, but they're not. And I use them to cover everything up. And this is what I use these sticky pads for. A lot of people use these to hold the diamond painting tray. The problem with them is the tray really sticks to them, and if you've got drills in a tray and you try and pull it off, it suddenly comes off and you spill the drills all over the place. So I don't use them for that. I use them to hold my mats in position, because when I started doing these videos, the mats kept sliding all over the place because they're on top of a clear cover. So I'm just revealing all my secrets now. So this is the first time I've done this actually, let people see how I set things up. So I'll take the mats off, and a couple of stickies underneath again. Now these are stuck on top of the clear cover of the diamond painting, they're not stuck on the drills. But once the drills are there, the mats don't really slide. It's just when I've got the clear cover, they tend to slide down. So I'll just pull them off. And now you can see what I'm working on, or part of what I'm working on. So that is revealed. So I've got a light pad that is actually a bit wider than what you can see, and the canvas is over that. Now I want to show you what's at the back. So this is looking at the back of the table, and you can see the clamp here, and that is the screw. So it's clamped up onto the table, and the canvas is basically just loosely rolled and sits inside that cup and goes across to the other side. So you can adjust these back and forward depending on the width of the canvas, but if you use this type of table, there is a little stopper. You can't really see it because everything's black, but in here there is a little piece that stands up, and that is so when your table goes fully flat, it sits on that, and that stops any adjustment to pull this further across. This is as far across as I can bring this, and I've got the same on the other side. So it fits really well. It keeps the canvas out of the way. You can see this is the work area for me up here, over there. So I can work here. I have the mats over everything. I can put my cases, all my accessories, my tray, tweezers, pens, everything. And I can even fit my laptop on the table at the same time. So it gives me a lot more space on the table. So what I would do is work the canvas up to a certain point, then I would turn it around, roll up the completed part, and sit it in the cups, and then work on the unfinished part until it was done. So I just want to show what the limitation is though on the width if you're using this type of table. So we'll switch back to a different view. Okay, so now we're looking down at the top or the back of the table, and as I said, because of these little posts that stick up, when the table goes flat it sits on them, we are limited to how far apart we can put these units. So I'm going to measure it. It's as far as it can go. So I've got a measuring tape, and it goes from here to here, which is 74.5 centimeters. That is the absolute maximum width that I can have. Now, because the borders on the canvases are quite wide, it actually meant I couldn't fit them in the holders. So what I did was I trimmed up the sides where the key or the legend is, and I just basically trimmed it so it would fit. Now the thing is, when I frame these, I trimmed the sides off completely anyway, so it didn't really matter. So I've just basically cut them and it fits inside the cups. The thing is, if it was a landscape canvas, it would be a lot wider than it was high. So I would actually work the canvas sideways. So I would turn it and work sideways on the canvas. And I wouldn't really have this problem because very few canvases are that deep. If they're wide, they tend to be quite a bit narrower. So it does work, but there is a limitation if you're using this type of table. But for me, it's a definite improvement on the foam that I was using, because now I have the whole surface of the table and I can put the laptop back on. That's partly why I haven't been doing as many lives, because I just don't have space to put the laptop while I'm diamond painting. So that's going to change. So that's it. Just wanted to show how I set it up, and it does work. I think the design is very good. They feel very solid, sturdy. Really, really easy to screw and unscrew to adjust them. So yeah, we'll go back to the normal table. So I thought we could just have a quick look at them again. As you can see, they are very well made, very thick, a lot sturdier than I was expecting, to be honest. I really like these screws, really easy to grip, they turn really easily, very easy to take off quickly and put back on again. The other thing about this is, depending on your setup, you can, if you need to use the table, just roll your canvas up and drop it down into the cups, and then you've got it beside the table but not on the table and in the way. I'm fortunate enough that I've got a table that I just use for diamond painting and it's always set up. But for me, the big plus is the fact that it keeps everything off the table, gives me more table space. And the only thing is that restriction with the width, but it will depend on your type of table. So if you're thinking about getting them, have a look under your table. If it's a adjustable drafting table like this one, I always have it on a very low gradient. I don't have it up high. If you had it up higher, you wouldn't have the problem with those little posts that stand up, because you would be up past them and you would be able to extend these right out to the edges of the table. They also come in numerous colours. I chose black because I have a black table. It just matches everything in this room. But there are, I wrote it down somewhere, yeah, 49 colour options. So I'm sure you're going to find something you like. They even have sort of rainbow effect as well, if you fancy something really different. They also come in two sizes. This is the standard size to fit the standard tables. So it will adjust from 0.5 centimetres, so half a centimetre, to 4 centimetres, and that works on these sort of standard adjustable drafting tables that have the two drawers in the front. This is the sort of typical one that you'll see. So the standard or the normal size will fit this table. But if you're using a dining room table, like a heavy, thick table, you can get it in XL, and the XL will adjust from 3.5 centimetres to 7 centimetres. So you need to measure the thickness of your table. The other thing is, if you're using a normal dining room table, if you look underneath the tabletop, you will see there's a wooden bar going along all the way around. That means that you need to order a different model of this. They have made one specifically for the sort of typical old-fashioned dining room tables that have that wooden beam going round. So just check your table and then have a look on the website. They do have pictures, so it's self-explanatory. If you go and just have a look at the two options, and you can see they've got it set up on the two different types of table, so you can see it. Yeah, for me, simple idea, keeps everything out of the way. Personally, I wouldn't put them at the front because they block the drawers, and it means the canvas is right in front of my knees, which I don't really like that idea. I prefer it to be at the back, out of the way. And because the canvas basically tucks under the table, my wife's table is facing mine, so we can set both up, and they don't bang into each other or anything because they are actually holding the canvas under the tables. So all in all, really well made, really well made. I was quite surprised just how well made they are. But yeah, it is the answer for me, for sure. Makes life a lot easier. So that was canvas table reels from 3dgems.de. Final note, they don't just make these, they do a lot of things. They have pens, they do 3D pens, they do trays, they do tray racks. They've actually got one specifically for the large Diamond Art Club trays. If anybody's interested in that, they make stacks that will take those trays. What else do they do? They do custom release paper and cover minders. Remember cover minders? They do cover minders as well. And there are a few miscellaneous things. So I'd say it's worth a look if you've never heard of them before. Just have a browse just for a look if nothing else. So that is 3dgems.de.